With the solar eclipse on October the 2nd, the eclipse gateway not only closes, but your immense transformation now also then concludes. Because so much has been happening within the eclipse gateway. It started with the lunar eclipse on the 18th that really kickstarted that heightened, immense growth period of really ascending higher, raising higher. There has been so much transformation, so much growth and ascension that was been happening, not only within the eclipse gateway since the 18th, but also throughout the month of September. We have received daily light code upgrades to really assist us in raising higher, in ascending higher, in awakening more. Then we also had the fall equinox. Even the fall equinox even fell in between the eclipse gateway. So there has been so much growth and transformation has been happening, really assisting us in transcending higher, really becoming a more empowered, more awakened being. And now with the solar eclipse on October the 2nd, the eclipse gateway closes, and then your transformation, that deep inner transformation that really got kickstarted with the lunar eclipse, then now concludes. Then you're moving into the post-eclipse season of really integrating all that really happened, all the changes, all the upgrades, all that you have received within the eclipse gateway. And in this video, I want to share with you the key things to know about this particular solar eclipse on October the 2nd, so you can really make the most out of what's really available now to really assist you in moving forward, in raising higher, and really integrating all that has happened. Now, this solar eclipse actually comes in combination with the new moon. So there is double energy at play here. So it's really a potent energy with the solar eclipse because, like I said, it's also in combination of the new moon. And here I want to invite you to check out the new moon forecast so you can get the information about what to know about the new moon, because these energies really intertwine, assisting us really at a deep inner level to really integrate all the change that we have experienced. So link for that forecast is in the description below. But the first thing I really want you to know is that your transformation now truly concludes. So there is somewhat of a conclusion now that is happening with the eclipse, with the solar eclipse, really helping you integrate all the changes, all the growth, all that you have experienced throughout the month of September. It's really helping you really anchor it all in. It's really settling it all in. It really closes that chapter of that immense period of immense growth. Now, we most likely will have more growth periods moving forward, but for right now, it concludes that. So we're getting somewhat of a relief or a pause from all these cosmic upgrades and shifts and changes, because also October won't be as intense with cosmic dates, but September was quite intense, and that's why now with the solar eclipse it all really settles in. It really concludes. It gives you that time to really integrate all that you experienced, all these upgrades, these energetic downloads that you have received. So it really gives you the opportunity to let it all settle in, really integrating all the changes, all the growth that you have experienced throughout September, throughout the eclipse gateway, also with the fall equinox, and basically everything that happened in September up until this point. Then the second thing I want you to know is that you may even experience a sense of being reborn and feeling quite uplifted. Now, even though the energetics throughout September, throughout the eclipse season may have been quite intense because we were receiving a lot of, energetic upgrades and downloads, ascension codes were coming in and all that, but even though it may have been energetically quite challenging throughout this eclipse season, you still feel somewhat of a sense of being reborn, feeling more uplifted because of all the growth, all the transformation, all the shifts, all the upgrades that you have received. You may even feel like a more empowered you now, that you're emerging out of your cocoon as that more empowered, more awakened, and aligned being, and aligned you, really feeling like that you're being reborn. And because you have grown tremendously. September was a big month with big energies, and a lot of growth was happening, a lot of transformation was happening internally, externally, on all levels. And it's now showing, and you're feeling that, you're really feeling that deep within that so much has happened, so much has shifted. And you're starting to feel that sense of that immense growth that you did experience. And the third thing I want you to know is that with the solar eclipse, it also brings somewhat of a grounding, anchoring effect, really helping you really let it all settle in. Now, even though the solar eclipse has that grounding, anchoring effect, now you may still receive that final push, that final energetic push to really push past any energetic barriers that will allow you to really raise higher. So you may experience that final push with this solar eclipse, but it also then really brings that anchoring, that grounding effect, letting it all settle in. So you may actually feel that grounding effect with the solar eclipse, where you feel maybe heavier, more connected, more grounded, more centered. If so, then you're really in alignment with this energy, and allow it. Maybe make it a habit really on or around the solar eclipse to really ground your energy. Anchor in all the growth, the transformation, the energetic upgrades that you have received throughout September, and now also with the solar eclipse. Really take some time out to really anchor it in. It's about really integrating, because if you don't integrate all these changes and the growth that you have experienced, you're actually missing out on a lot that could really help you really get into alignment. Also, it can cause you to feel quite out of alignment and quite wobbly and quite disconnected, because you haven't given yourself the time and space to anchor it in, to ground it in, to really integrate all the changes that really happen, all these energetic upgrades. So with this solar eclipse, it's ideal to really take that time out to tune into that anchoring effect, to really let it all settle. Now, the fourth thing I want you to know is that you may actually feel quite exhausted and drained, but then also excited to accelerate all at the same time. So you may actually feel a whole lot of different emotions with the solar eclipse, because your body, your mind may be quite exhausted by all these upgrades that you have received, because, like I said, you have grown quite tremendously. But then also on a spiritual and emotional level, you may not also feel quite excited about all that change and the growth that you've experienced, and about that accelerated period that you have just been through, and then what's to come next. So you may actually feel somewhat of, that seesaw kind of experience, where one moment you may feel absolutely tired and exhausted, and next moment you're like, oh my God, I'm so excited. This was amazing. This was exhausting, but oh my God, this is so amazing, because I really see that how things have shifted, how things have changed. You may already start experiencing things in your life, like more growth, more opportunities, more abundance, more prosperity, because that also was kickstarted with the fall equinox as well, that the door to the abundance and prosperity really open. So you may start to see all these things. So yes, even though you may be physically and mentally, you might be totally exhausted and drained, and you may just really are ready for a vacation, perfectly fine. So here, self-care is really important. But then, like I said, energetically and spiritually, you may be absolutely excited for all the changes and growth that you have experienced, and you start seeing these things in your life. And also moving forward, you may actually also have that sense that something big is unfolding, that you're really meant to step into something more evolved, something bigger, which brings me then also to the fifth and final piece that I want you to know, is that your next higher path is being presented to you. So you will get the insights, the guidance, the roadmap, the blueprint, all what you need, the steps of what to do moving forward, what to step into, what to evolve into, what to embrace. Because after all that growth that you have experienced, the old way of how you have been going about things no longer is in alignment. There's a mismatch here. So you need to get the insights, the guidance of how to evolve, because as you have evolved throughout September, throughout the eclipse gateway, well, the way of you, how you're showing up in the world, what you do also needs to evolve to match the growth that you have experienced. So on around the solar eclipse, I want to invite you to maybe meditate more, to maybe do some automatic writing, some journaling, some tuning in, asking questions. What is my next higher path? What am I here to do? What am I meant to step into? What am I meant to evolve into? What is asking to be expressed through me? Asking those type of questions. Meditate on that. Journal about that. If you're working with higher beings, ask your guides those questions. Get the guidance, because now you need to have that next plan, so to speak, that higher plan that is matching who you have grown into because of the eclipse gateway and all these shifts and changes, the upgrades that you received throughout September. You can't continue going about your life in the same way that you have prior to September, because it's no longer in alignment, because you have grown so much in September. Well, you now need to adjust your life, the things that you do to match that. And that's what's also available now. These insights are now available to you. You just need to make the time and space to really open yourself up to receiving the guidance, to receiving the insights into, well, what is that next step for you? Because after all that internal growth that you experienced, the physical needs to evolve as well to really match that internal growth that you've experienced. And that's about the things that you do, the things, how you're showing up, what you're calling forth, what you're stepping into, and all of those things. But that's now available for you too. So here are the key things about the solar eclipse. Now, I definitely want to invite you, also stay tuned, because there's going to be a light language activation coming out as well to assist you with all this integration, this really aligning yourself to this, to really help you and really feeling reborn, re-emerging as that new you. So definitely stay tuned for that light language activation, and I want to invite you to really check that out. But now let me share with you what you can do to really make the most out of this solar eclipse and what the solar eclipse really has to offer. For one, like I mentioned, definitely check out the light language activation because it will assist you on an energetic level, but it also really make that time and space for self-care, to really tune in, to let everything anchor in, let everything ground in, let everything really integrate. That is so important. If you can take time out on the solar eclipse, or if you can't do the solar eclipse, maybe the day before or the day after, but take time out to just really let it all settle, let it all integrate. But then also at the same time, celebrate the growth that you have experienced, because you have transformed, you have grown tremendously, you have ascended throughout September, throughout the eclipse gateway, and take a moment to really celebrate it, to acknowledge all the growth that you have experienced. But then also open yourself up to be shown that next step, that next path, that more evolved way of showing up in the world, of what's asking to be expressed through you. Maybe contemplate about those questions that I had mentioned. Journal about that, ask your guides, maybe get a reading or whatever it is that you feel called to do, but really tap into that more evolved version of you, and then allow yourself to become aware of, okay, how can you then really uplift your life, the things you do to match who you have grown into? And just be open to the messages, be open to the insights, be open to the guidance. And then I want to invite you, trust the guidance and then act on the guidance without hesitation, without holding back, without limiting yourself, without settling for anything less than the guidance that you received, but really go for it, because it is to your highest and greatest good. And also make self-care a higher priority with the solar eclipse, because you need some time to really integrate, to really let it settle, to ground it into the here and now, to also just take a breather, because you've gone through an immense period of growth, of change, of transformation. So just make self-care a bit of a priority on the solar eclipse. And also maybe consider joining us in Transcendence, my membership, where you can receive ongoing support. We have weekly calls, monthly workshops, there are also monthly challenges, there are also online courses included. There's a lot to really assist you on this journey moving forward. So if you would like to be part of an uplifting community, if you would like to have more individualized support where you can ask questions, where you can receive the guidance and support, the healing is specifically tailored to what you need, then maybe consider joining us in Transcendence. I think you're going to enjoy that. So if that's of interest to you, check out the link in the description below. I would be honored if you were to join us. But here you go. You have this forecast for the solar eclipse. I really hope you enjoyed this. Now be sure to check out these two videos. There are two light language activations that can help you. One is about letting go and surrendering, and another one about reigniting joy, love, and excitement within your heart. Two powerful light language activations. So thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, make an amazingly abundant and joyful day. Namaste.